Okay, then the Wizard of Menlo Park. Wait, sorry, got my notes jumbled. The Fish Slingin Auteur of Lompoc, California, MJ Sewall asks, and he asked it back April 13th, 2025. Hello to the springly Manly Matt and the recently thawed Dave Sim. We're having trouble with thawing. We've had a couple of nice days so far, but only a couple of them, which is reminding me of another one of those Southern Ontario sayings that you don't remember until we come to these. It's the end of April. It's the beginning of May. When is it going to warm up? And somebody came up with, it isn't spring until the Leafs are up. And the Leafs are still in the playoffs, although they're doing their best to completely screw up 3-0 over Ottawa. And it's now, as far as I know, 3-2, 3-3. This is when the Leafs are on the front page of my newspapers. So it isn't spring until the Leafs are out. Looks like they have to screw up in Game 3 and then screw up in Game 6 and screw up again in Game 7 and get knocked out of the playoffs after being up 3-0. Maybe it won't happen that way, but it's the Leafs. It isn't spring until the Leafs are out. Anyway, MJ Sewell asks, your famous comic book collection was sold to Harry Crummer to fund the budding adult Dave in 1976. I know this was sold to help you move out of your parents' house to start meeting girls. I didn't really think I was ever going to meet any girls, but it was definitely to get me out of my parents' house. But questions for Dave Sim. Dave, what comics did you have? Complete run of Justice League, check. X-Men, no, never got a complete set of X-Men, but came pretty close on that. Superman, the earliest issue of Superman that I got in that go-round was Superman number 10. I had Superman number 22. Action Comics 23. I had World's Finest Comics 7, 8, and 9, and a really, really lousy copy of number 9. Glow-in-the-dark, perfect copy of number 8. Action Comics. I had some good runs. I had all of my comics that I still had from when I was a kid, and reading copies, and but large gaps. Action Comics was already up over well over 300. Adventure Comics was up over 300. So it was scatterings of early comics, little short runs, and then complete runs up around 1970, 1968 sort of thing. You've got you mentioned, and I appreciated this, Dave answered how he stored his comics in the previous Please Hold. I think I covered this, and it's like one of the December ones. How did you remember it was one of the December ones?
Because Margaret asked, and it was the autobiography page from one of the notebooks.
Okay.
And it was just, short one-sentence descriptions, and it was the boxes for my comics, Dad hits me, Mom defends him. And
right.
She asked it in a December one, and I for whatever reason, I think it's because I posted the transcript that Jesse Lee Herndon does, and it was around Christmas.
It stuck in your head. All right, good. I can add, how did you store them before bags and boards? You would literally buy baggies, you know, not the sandwich bags, but the next size up wasn't the size of a comic book. It was about 2 inches wider than a comic book. So we would buy rolls of these baggies and just fold them off, put the comic book in, fold the baggie over the back, and then tape it. And that was late 1960s. About 1970 was when Robert Bell came up with the Robert Bell comic bags, and everybody started buying those. In shoe boxes, you ask, was a question mark. In banker boxes, was a question mark. Neat little piles, with a question mark. Again, this is like going back to the 1960s and early 70s, and what we would do, and I don't know when this stopped. Supermarkets used to just stack up all of their cardboard boxes after they were emptied at the front of the supermarket. Every supermarket did that. So it was like, here's the checkout, and when you came through the checkout, if there was a wall of windows or whatever it was on the other side of the checkout, that's where everybody that worked at the grocery store put all of the cardboard boxes once they were empty. And it was like a community service thing of, we have no use for cardboard boxes. This was before recycling. So instead of just throwing away all of these cardboard boxes, we'll put them at the front of the supermarket, and we'll throw them out eventually if it starts getting out of hand. But that was just where you went to get cardboard boxes. So you would look for, I forget what the box was, but it was like Aylmer vegetable box or vegetable can box or whatever it was. And wow, it fits a comic book perfectly. It fits a modern comic book. And if you've got Golden Age comic books in the bottom, because you've got them going back that far, this fits it. Okay, watch for these boxes. Anytime they got one of these, grab one of them, and all of my comic books are going to be in Aylmer boxes. And then you wouldn't be able to find those. Suddenly they would change the box or change the number of products that they were putting in it. I'm just checking. You're what, like 20 years behind me. This is not ringing a bell with you at all, right?
I do know that before recycling took off, that you'd go to the grocery store and any kind of box you want, if they got it, it would be easily accessible. I know. I don't even know how I ended up getting it, but my buddy, the comic book man, will come and he used to come and lend me reusable grocery bags full of comics. He'd bring like 2 or 3 of them. This is what I've read in the past 6 months because he's got more disposable income than me. And I would empty the bags and give them back to him, but then I had to put his comics in a place where I could return them. And the box that works perfect is Fleischmann vodka. It's just about the size of a standard small comic box now.
Right.
And it's and it's also got holes in the ends so you can carry it easily. And I was using that for like 20 years. And when I was moving, I put something in it, and the box finally started to rip to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't just grab it by the quote unquote handles. I have to grab it by the bottom. And it's in my storage unit now, full of bags and boards that when I was cleaning out my room in the basement of the house when we were moving, I had like 500 boards and probably 300 bags that I had. Oh yeah, I'm going to bag and board all my comics, and it's like, that sounds like work. I understand that every day I don't bag and board my comics, they become worth a little bit less. But I'm pretty sure that my copy of Amazing Spider-Man 238 that has been read 7,000 times isn't going to be in mint condition anymore.
Right.
And
You'll still put it in a plastic bag, but you don't really need to bother.
well, I actually haven't put it in a plastic bag because my best friend and I reconnected after not talking for a while because he was living far away and he moved back into town. And he said, "Can I borrow the 12 issues you used to have of Amazing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And that's one of them. And there's a part of me that's I'm handing him the stack, going, "You're handing him probably $200-300 worth of comics. Are you sure this you want to do this, Matt?" And it's like, yes, because they're not worth $200-300. You schmuck. If they were worth $200-300, you would have probably sold them when you needed money.
Yes.
They're probably worth $12, and that's $1 an issue.
Very astute of you. Very astute of you, I must say.
When my friend the comic book man explained to me the Hopalong Cassidy theory of collectibles, it really opened my eyes to you can hang on to whatever you want if you think it's worth something, but unless somebody else out there thinks it's worth something too, you're essentially hoarding Hopalong Cassidy merchandise, which there was a point where Hopalong Cassidy merchandise was a really booming market. But all those people that really love Hopalong Cassidy are probably dead now.
Yes.
That's
Sad.
that's the sad part of fandom when you go, hey, wait a minute, nobody cares about Hopalong Cassidy anymore. It's like, but he's coming back, right? No guys. That train has sailed.
Although, if you look in the Overstreet price guide under Hopalong Cassidy, you'll probably find out that they're still holding out for $300 and $700 in 9.2 and 9.8. More the fool's day. Yeah. Okay. So we are on the same page with that one. That yes, we did used to do that, and now we are much older and wiser as a collector's market, and everybody has figured out why don't we actually build boxes that actually fit these things and are going to be uniform, which if we'd have known that was coming back in the 1960s and 1970s, we'd have thought we died and had gone to heaven. P.S. The odd trickle of customers rushing into my restaurant screaming swordfish continues unabated. To avoid the expected 70% discount to dedicated Sim fans, I must keep a stack of gold version Seraph Zeros below the counter at all times. It's costing me a fortune on eBay. Damn it, Dal. And I'm not getting in the middle of this. Your answer to him is...
I never promised anything tangible to Swordfish listeners, Mike, so you're on your own. Also, Pixar, it didn't happen.
There you go. And I just want to pick up on a thing that I forget how Mike put it last time, something about him being crazy. Is he crazy because he's trying to run a restaurant in California in 2025? Or is he crazy because he's running the restaurant with his ex-wife? And Mike, you're a writer, and I hope you're making progress on your Dave Sim biography and are still on schedule. I'm sure you'll let us know. If you're looking for a project after that, I think there's probably a lot of money to be made writing a book on running a business with your ex-wife. And you and your ex-wife could write it together as, here's a funny story that at the time wasn't funny. And here's a funny story that was funny at the time and it's still funny. And here's, hey, if you want to run a business with your ex, I'd watch out for this kind of stuff. It's, you could probably just, use the record function on your phones, and anytime there's a slow period at the restaurant, just go, oh, I had forgotten that one. and your version of how that episode went, and her version of how that episode went, and try not to open any old wounds. But I think you'd have a best-selling book there. How to Run a Restaurant with Your Ex-Wife.
When I was 13, my since my 39th day of being alive, my family has been going to motorcycle rallies every summer. The BMW Motorcycle Owners of America's national rally is always in end of June, beginning of July. And when I was 13, my brother turned 16, got his license, got his motorcycle license, and then we flew to California where my dad was living to ride my father's motorcycle and his other motorcycle that he was letting my brother ride to DeCoin, Illinois, where the rally was. And it was like a week or 2 week trip. And when they got done, my dad wrote an article for the MOA magazine called He Said. And my brother wrote an article for the same magazine, published in the same issue, called And He Said, both recounting the trip and what it was like as an experienced rider versus a new rider, and riding with his family and all the headaches that occurred on this trip. And my dad was really good friends with the editor-in-chief of the magazine, and he's a family friend, and I had tried to pitch him on me writing a third article called And Then He Said, which is me going, they're both lying, that's not what happened. He almost killed him in Colorado. He almost killed me in Colorado. I'm pretty sure that if Child Protective Services finds out anything about this trip, someone's going to jail. Like, what?
That might still hold true. There might be no statute of limitations depending on what you're talking about.
Well, at one point on the trip, we're in Colorado. We're going through a mountain pass. I forget which one it is, but it's a tunnel through a mountain. And Dad and I get through the tunnel. Dad looks back. No, my brother. And there's an exit like half a mile down the road. So he pulls up to the exit and tells me to get off the bike and wait for my brother. And then he gets back on the other side and goes back through the tunnel so he can get off and go back and find where my brother is. And my brother is not coming. And finally, he shows up, and I'm like, hey, I don't know where Dad is. And he's like, well, I'll go look for him. I'm like, how about you stay here with me and we just wait for Dad to show up?
How old were you at this time?
13. So I was standing next to the exit ramp, standing on the exit ramp next to the exit sign for about 20-25 minutes before someone I knew showed up. And, of course, little old ladies in cars are slowing down, and I'm shaking my head going, no, it's fine. Just keep going. They're going to come back for me.
Because you also weren't the world's tallest 13-year-old.
Yeah, no, I was probably 4.5 feet tall, maybe.
Yeah. People will slow down and go, what's going on here?
I mean, like I said, I at the time I wanted to write my own article, and the editor-in-chief was seriously considering it because he knew my dad and he knew my brother, and he thought that, it would be interesting to get the third perspective. And the only reason it never happened was that I knew that if I had let my brother and dad know I was going to do it, they would have killed me, because their versions almost lined up as being what happened, There were very much different perspectives, but at the same time, there wasn't my voice going, they're lying. That's not what happened at all. They're spinning this so that they look like they're heroes, but no, they're both idiots. I'm surprised I lived through this trip.
Right. That's good. That's good. Okay, there you go, Mike. I hope we answered your question, and I hope we were kind of entertaining.